I stared at my phone, the screen glowing with Ethan's message. I need space. Those 3 simple words felt like a punch to my gut. My heart sank as I read them again, hoping they would somehow mean something different. My mind raced. What did he mean? Was this really happening? I thought we were happy. I thought we were solid. As I scrolled through my messages, my disbelief quickly shifted to anguish. I found more messages, ones I hadn't noticed before. Some were from friends asking me if I was okay. Others were from Ethan, but they were vague, filled with vague apologies and promises to explain later. My hand trembled as I read, each word deepening the pit in my stomach. I just need time. You'll understand. What did I need to understand? I felt my anger bubbling up, mixing with confusion. How could he do this to me? My mind whirled with questions. Did he not see how much I loved him? Did he think I could just accept this? I gritted my teeth, fighting back tears. Then, as if a light flickered on in the darkness, a realization began to dawn on me. I was not just a victim in this story. I had power. I could change the narrative of my pain. I could decide how this would end. I could fight back. I stood up, my heart racing with each step I took. I felt a surge of energy rush through me. I was done feeling sorry for myself. I wanted answers, and I was going to get them. I thought of Ethan, the man I trusted with my heart. How could he betray me like this? My mind flashed to the night we laughed together, our plans for the future, the love we shared. Now, it felt like a cruel joke. I paced the room, each footfall echoing my resolve. This is not over, I whispered to myself. I would confront him. I would demand answers. But first, I needed to know who else was involved in this mess. I grabbed my laptop and opened it, my fingers flying across the keyboard. I began to search for anything that could give me insight into Ethan's life outside of me. I was determined to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. I typed in his name, then added affair to the search. My heart pounded in my chest, a mix of fear and excitement. As the pages loaded, I felt a mix of dread and determination. What if I found something? What if it was worse than I imagined? My hands shook as I clicked on links, scrolling through social media posts and news articles. Suddenly, I saw her. Maura. A name I had never heard before, but now it felt like a knife in my heart. She was smiling in every photo, her beauty shining through the screen. I could feel the envy creeping in, twisting my stomach into knots. Why did she get to be happy while I was left in this pain? What does she have that I don't? I muttered, clenching my jaw. I felt the anger swell inside me, a fire igniting my resolve. I needed to know more about her. I needed to understand why Ethan chose her over me. As I continued my search, I stumbled upon posts about their outings, tagged photos that sent a chill down my spine. I felt like I was slowly unraveling, each click revealing another layer of betrayal. I was no longer just heartbroken. I was furious. I closed my laptop, frustration boiling over. I needed to confront Ethan, but there was something else nagging at me. The thought of facing Maura crossed my mind, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. Part of me wanted to confront her, to demand why she thought she could take my place. But another part hesitated. What if she was just as lost as I was? I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. I had a choice to make. Would I let this pain consume me, or would I rise from the ashes of betrayal? I could feel the fire inside me burning brighter, ready to guide me toward whatever came next. I sat on my couch, the glow of my phone illuminating the dark room around me. My heart raced as I opened the social media app. I needed to know more about Maura, the woman Ethan had chosen over me, and I was ready to dive deep into her life. Scrolling through her pictures felt invasive, but I couldn't help myself. Every click felt like I was peeling back layers of a mystery that had turned my world upside down. Who is she? I whispered under my breath, my fingers trembling as I clicked on a photo of Mora smiling with friends, her eyes sparkling with what seemed like pure joy. I felt a stab of jealousy. I used to smile like that too. I used to be that happy. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to push away the painful memories of Ethan and me, moments that now felt tainted. Suddenly, a flood of flashbacks hit me. I remembered our first date, how Ethan's laughter wrapped around me like a warm blanket. I remembered the way he held my hand in the park, the way he whispered sweet nothings in my ear. Those memories felt like daggers now, twisting in my heart. What had gone wrong? Was I not enough? Every new piece of information about Mora made my chest tighten. I learned she was a graphic designer, talented and ambitious. I saw photos of her traveling, living life to the fullest, while I felt like I was stuck in a pit of despair. "What does she have that I don't?" I muttered, my voice shaking with anger. As I scrolled, I began to see her not just as an intruder, but as a thief who had stolen my happiness. I felt rage bubbling up inside me. She took everything from me, I thought. I had to confront her. The thought of it sent shivers down my spine. What if she's everything I'm not? The temptation to reach out to her became overwhelming. I could picture the confrontation in my mind, my heart pounding, fists clenched. Maybe I should just call her, I whispered, half excited and half terrified. What would I even say? Sarah? My best friend Lily appeared in the doorway, her eyebrows raised in concern. You've been quiet for too long. What's going on? I hesitated, unsure if I should spill all the tangled thoughts in my head. But I needed to talk to someone. It's Ethan. And Mora, I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. Lily's expression shifted from concern to understanding. You're looking her up, aren't you? I nodded, feeling exposed. I need to know who she is. I can't just let this go. Confronting her won't help, you know, Lily said gently, stepping closer. What do you hope to achieve? Will it make you feel better? I don't know, I admitted, frustration spilling over. I just want closure. I want her to feel what I feel. I want her to know what she's done. Lily sighed, her eyes softening. But what if you find out she's just as broken as you? What if she's hurting too? Her words hit me hard. The thought of Mora as a victim, just like me, twisted my gut. I can't think like that, I replied, shaking my head. She's the enemy. She's the one who ruined everything. Or she's someone who made a mistake just like Ethan did, Lily said. You can't blame her entirely for his choices. I fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Maybe, I said slowly, but I still want to confront her. I want to know why. Lily placed a hand on my shoulder. Just be careful. You're fragile right now. Revenge might feel good in the moment, but it won't fix what's broken inside you. I took a deep breath, her words echoing in my mind. I know, I finally said, but I can't shake the need to see her face to understand. It's like an itch I can't scratch. Lily nodded, her eyes filled with concern. Just promise me you'll think before you act. You're stronger than you know, but don't let your pain lead you to a darker place. I nodded, though I felt the storm inside me brewing. The thought of confronting Mora was both terrifying and intoxicating. In that moment, I knew I was on the brink of something. Whether it was healing or destruction, I could not yet tell. But I felt a flicker of determination ignite within me. I would find out the truth, no matter the cost. I walked into the small cafe, my heart pounding, as I spotted Mora sitting at a corner table. The sunlight filtered through the windows, giving the place a warm glow, but my stomach twisted with anxiety. I had imagined this moment countless times, rehearsing my words like a script. Yet now that I was here, all I felt was uncertainty. Sarah, Mora said softly as I approached. Her voice surprised me. It was not the harsh tone I had expected. She looked up, her eyes revealing a mix of vulnerability and apprehension. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "Maura," I replied, my own voice shaky. "I didn't think you would actually come." "I almost didn't," she admitted, glancing down at her coffee. "But I felt like we needed to talk." I sat down across from her, my mind racing. "So you think talking will help?" I asked, trying to mask my anger. "Help what? Justify what you did?" Maura looked me in the eyes, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of pain in her gaze. "I don't want to justify anything, Sarah. I just want you to know that I didn't plan any of this. It just happened." "Doesn't that make it worse?" I shot back, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks. "You didn't think about the people you were hurting?" She sighed, rubbing her temples as if the weight of the world rested on her shoulders. "Believe me, I think about it every day. I didn't know Ethan was with you. I thought he was single." "Really?" I scoffed, crossing my arms. "You expect me to believe that? He told you nothing about me?" Maura looked down, her fingers tracing the rim of her cup. "No, he didn't. I thought he was honest. I thought I was falling for someone who was free." She paused, her voice barely above a whisper. But I was wrong. A heavy silence fell between us, filled with the weight of unspoken truths. I could feel my anger beginning to dissolve, replaced by a strange sense of connection. "So, what now?" I asked, my voice softer. "Do we just sit here and share our pain over coffee?" "I don't want you to see me as just an enemy," Maura said, her eyes searching mine. "I know I hurt you, and I'm so sorry for that, but I also feel lost. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." I shifted in my seat, my heart softening a little. "I didn't expect this," I admitted. "I thought I would come here and scream at you, but now, I don't know." "Maybe we are more alike than we think," she suggested, her voice trembling slightly. "We both loved the same man. We both thought we were happy. And now, here we are." I nodded slowly, the realization hitting me hard. "You're right. I never thought about it that way." I hesitated, unsure of how to express what I was feeling. "It's just hard to see you as anything but a rival." "Maybe we can change that," Maura said gently. "I don't want to be your enemy. Let's try to understand each other instead of fighting." Her words hung in the air, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope. "What if we could help each other heal?" I asked, surprising myself. "I mean, we both need to move on from Ethan." "Exactly," she replied, a small smile breaking through her sadness. "It's not about revenge. It's about finding ourselves again." As we talked, we shared stories of our lives, the dreams we had once chased, and the pieces of ourselves that had been lost in our relationships. I listened to her talk about her struggles, her ambitions, and her own heartbreak. It was strange, but I began to see her not as a rival, but as a woman who had also been hurt. By the end of our conversation, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. "I never expected to feel this way," I confessed. "I thought I would leave here feeling angrier." "Me too," Maura said, her gaze steady. "But maybe this is what we both needed, a chance to connect instead of fight." As we stood to leave, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. I had come here seeking vengeance, but I was walking away with something far more valuable: understanding. I realized that in confronting Maura, I had confronted my own pain. It was a turning point, and for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope for my future. After my encounter with Maura, I felt a mix of emotions swirling inside me. I sat in my small living room, staring at the walls that had witnessed so many moments of joy and sorrow. I took a deep breath, trying to find some peace in the chaos of my thoughts. The silence was heavy, but it was also a chance for reflection. I needed to understand how I got here and what I truly wanted. "What now?" I whispered to myself, the question hanging in the air like a ghost. I thought about the life I once had with Ethan, the dreams we shared, and the love we built. Those memories felt distant, almost like a different life. I picked up a journal that had been collecting dust on my shelf, its pages blank, waiting for my thoughts. I opened it, and the first words flowed out. I am lost. As I wrote, I felt the weight of my pain lifting, even just a little. I remembered how I used to paint before everything fell apart. My brush would dance on the canvas, colors blending together, creating pieces of my heart. I decided I needed to reconnect with that part of me. "It's time to find you again, Sarah," I said, sounding more determined than I felt. I gathered some old supplies from the closet and set up a small space in the living room. I squeezed out paint onto the palette and dipped my brush into the vibrant colors. With each stroke, I felt a spark of life returning. I painted without thinking, letting my feelings guide me. The canvas became a reflection of my heart, chaotic yet beautiful. Days passed, and I lost myself in my art. Each painting told a story, a piece of my journey through heartbreak and self-discovery. I also thought about joining a support group I had heard about. The idea scared me, but I knew I needed to share my experience with others who understood. When the day of the meeting arrived, I stood outside the door, my heart pounding. "You can do this," I told myself. I took a deep breath and walked in. The room was filled with women, all with their stories etched on their faces. As I sat down, I felt the warmth of shared pain and understanding. "Hi, I'm Sarah," I introduced myself, my voice trembling slightly. "I'm here because I'm trying to find myself again after my marriage fell apart." One woman, her eyes soft and kind, smiled at me. "Welcome, Sarah. We're all here for the same reason. You're not alone." As the meeting went on, I listened to their stories. Each woman spoke of betrayal, heartache, and the journey to reclaim their lives. "It's tough," one woman said, her voice breaking, "but we have to remember, we're stronger than we think." I nodded, feeling a connection with them. They understood my pain. "How do you move on?" I asked them, my heart heavy with uncertainty. Another woman replied, "It's a process. You have to be kind to yourself and take it one day at a time." Their words resonated deep within me. I realized that healing was not just about confronting Ethan or Maura, it was about facing myself. I needed to let go of the anger and hurt that had been holding me captive. After the meeting, I felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I walked home, the evening sun casting a warm glow around me. This is just the beginning, I thought, a small smile creeping onto my face. I began to set small goals for myself, like visiting new places and trying new activities. I signed up for a painting class at a local community center, excited to learn and grow. I remembered how much I loved being creative, and I wanted to explore that side of me again. One evening, as I painted in my living room, I paused to reflect on my progress. I felt a sense of peace that I hadn't felt in a long time. "I am more than my past," I said softly. "I am discovering who I am." With each passing day, I embraced the journey of self-discovery, knowing that I was learning to let go of my past. In that moment, I understood that my true battle was within myself, and I was finally ready to fight for my happiness. As I stood in front of the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. My eyes were tired, and my heart felt heavy with the weight of betrayal. But today was different. Today, I was ready to let go. I took a deep breath, reminding myself that I had the power to change my story. No more being a victim. Today, I would confront my past. I left my apartment and made my way to the cafe where I promised to meet Ethan. My heart raced with every step. I had rehearsed this moment in my head 1,000 times, but now that it was real, doubt crept in. What if he brushed off my feelings? What if he acted like nothing had happened? I shook my head, pushing away the doubts. I had come too far to turn back now. When I arrived, I spotted him at a corner table, his expression unreadable. I took a moment to gather my thoughts before walking over. "Ethan," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "We need to talk." He looked up, surprise flickering across his face. "Sarah, I didn't expect to see you." "Yeah, well, here I am." I sat down, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks. "I wanted to tell you how I feel about everything that happened." He leaned back, crossing his arms. "I know things have been rough. I didn't mean to hurt you." "No, you didn't mean to hurt me. You didn't mean to betray me either, right?" I snapped, the anger bubbling up. "You think a simple apology can fix this?" Ethan looked pained, and for a moment I felt a flicker of compassion, but I pushed it aside. "You hurt me, Ethan. You broke my trust. I thought we had something real. I thought you loved me." "I did love you, Sarah. I still do," he said, his voice low. "But I made a mistake. I thought I could make it work while also exploring." "Exploring what?" "Your options," I interrupted, feeling my heart race. "You shattered everything we built. I feel like a fool for loving you." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I was confused, and I took the wrong path." "Well, it's too late for apologies now," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've spent too long feeling like I was not enough. You made me feel small, Ethan. You made me doubt myself." He looked down, shame washing over his features. "I never meant for that to happen." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my words. "I'm not here for you to say you're sorry or to make excuses. I'm here to take my power back. I want you to know that I'm moving on." Ethan looked up, surprise mixed with sadness in his eyes. "Moving on?" "Yes. I deserve better than this. Better than you." The words tasted bittersweet, but they felt empowering. "I want to reclaim my life. I want to forgive you, not for your sake, but for mine." "Forgive me?" he echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes. I need to let go of this anger," I explained. "Holding on to it only keeps me tied to you. I won't let you have that power over me anymore." There was a long silence as Ethan processed my words. Finally, he nodded slowly, a hint of respect shining in his eyes. "I understand. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm glad you're finding your strength." With that, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. I was ready to close this chapter of my life. "I hope you find your way too, Ethan. Take care." As I stood to leave, I felt lighter, as if a burden had been lifted from my shoulders. I stepped outside, the sun shining brightly. I was ready to embrace the possibilities that lay ahead. This was my moment of freedom, and I would no longer be defined by someone else's choices. I smiled to myself, knowing that I was moving forward, ready to discover who I was meant to be. Stepping into my newfound independence felt like walking into a sunlit room after being trapped in darkness for too long. I could feel the weight of my past slowly lifting from my shoulders, and it was exhilarating. I was ready to focus on personal growth and rebuilding my self-esteem. One evening, I decided to join a local book club. The thought of meeting new people both excited and terrified me. As I entered the cozy cafe, I was greeted by a warm smile from Linda, the organizer. "Welcome, we're glad to have you here," she said, her voice friendly and inviting. "Thanks. I'm excited but a bit nervous," I admitted, glancing around at the small group of people already gathered. "Nervous is normal. We're all here to enjoy books and each other's company," she reassured me. I took a deep breath and joined the group, feeling a spark of hope ignite within me. As the weeks went by, I found myself looking forward to our meetings. I developed friendships with people who shared my love for literature. I laughed, shared stories, and slowly began to trust again. One evening, after discussing a particularly moving novel, I opened up about my journey. "I've learned so much about myself in the last few months," I said, my voice steady. It's like I'm finally discovering who I am outside of my past." "You're brave for sharing that," said Mark, a fellow member with kind eyes. "It's not easy to let go of hurt, but it sounds like you're on the right path." "Thanks, Mark," I replied, feeling a warmth in my chest. "I'm trying to embrace new beginnings, you know?" That conversation stayed with me. It reminded me that I was not alone in my struggles. Each person in that room had their own battles, and together, we found strength in our stories. As spring approached, I decided to take a leap of faith and try a new activity. I signed up for a pottery class. The idea of getting my hands dirty and creating something new excited me. On the first day, I was nervous again. I walked into the studio and met Chloe, the instructor. "Welcome! Don't worry if you've never done this before. We're here to have fun," she said, her energy infectious. "Thanks. I've never tried pottery, but I'm ready for a new challenge," I replied, smiling back. As I shaped the clay, I felt a sense of freedom wash over me. It was messy and imperfect, just like my life had been. "Look at that! It's taking shape," Chloe encouraged me, her enthusiasm brightening the room. "Yeah, it's not perfect, but I kind of like it that way," I said, laughing at my crooked creation. "Exactly! That's the beauty of art," she replied. "It doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful." Those words resonated deeply within me. I realized that I, too, didn't have to be perfect. I was learning to embrace my flaws and celebrate my progress. As my confidence grew, I started exploring new relationships. I went on a few casual dates, each one teaching me something valuable about myself. One evening, I met Alex, a charming guy with a genuine smile. We talked for hours over dinner, sharing stories and laughter. "You have an incredible spirit," he said, looking into my eyes. "I can see you've been through a lot, but you're strong." "Thank you, Alex. I'm learning to embrace the journey," I replied, feeling a warmth spread through me. With each new connection, I felt the walls I had built around my heart begin to crumble. I learned to trust again, but at my own pace. I wasn't rushing into anything. I was savoring each moment, allowing myself to explore what it meant to be open to love and friendship. One sunny afternoon, I gathered my friends from the book club for a small celebration at my apartment. We laughed, shared stories, and toasted to new beginnings. "To Sarah," Linda exclaimed, raising her glass, "for embracing life and all its possibilities." "To Sarah," everyone cheered, and I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me. As I stood there, surrounded by friends who supported me, I reflected on my journey. I was no longer the woman defined by betrayal. I was growing, healing, and embracing my future. In that moment, I realized that true strength lies not in seeking revenge, but in having the courage to rise above my circumstances. I was ready to embrace whatever came next. The road ahead was mine to shape, and I was excited to see where it would lead me. Share this story if you believe that personal growth can emerge from the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about a moment when you embraced a new beginning in your life, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one.